Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Kyuuyaku Megami Tensei. This is like the 20th time I've tried recording what I thought would be a very simple and short episode to record, and I thought it'd be all smooth sailing, but then a bunch of technical problems happened and some weird noises that distracted me, and it's been a journey recording this episode, but hopefully this is the take that ends up making it, and everything is going to be fine. To give a quick little recap, last time around, we got halfway through the 4th dungeon of Kyuuyaku Megami Tensei, the Corridor of Mazurka, better known as the Mazurka Corridor, actually. Don't know why I went long form there for the name. But yeah, this is a big, long-winded dungeon with nasty enemies that can lower your levels, and I hate it. But yeah, along the way, we picked up the silk thread from the Mazurka Corridor, and we also picked up the membership card from Rags back in the Valhalla Corridor. Kind of doubled back around to get that item. And then we reached a little sanctuary checkpoint spot where we could chill out, have fun, and call up the Sky City of Bien to heal up, rest up, and prepare for the second half of this dungeon. I ran into a basilisk there, which you may be confused why I cut out, because I haven't seemed to have fought it yet in this dungeon, but I actually have. If you remember in episode 9, we kind of stopped by this part of the dungeon using the Sky City of Bien to do a little bit of grinding, and I fought a basilisk there, so I didn't think it was worth showing it off another time. They're big chicken things that are a little, they can do a decent amount of damage and also can maybe sometimes rarely turn you into stone. And they also make very good fusion fodder, which I honestly probably should have took advantage of sooner in this playthrough, but I didn't. And that Tornado Man didn't want to talk to us, so whatever. It's fine. We don't need him. We have a Stonka. I'm actually not a big fan of the Stonka. Like, it's okay. But we could do better than the Stonka, I believe. Actually getting pretty close to maxing out Yumiko's intelligence stat, and to a lesser extent, we're getting pretty close to maxing out the I believe either the strength or the vitality. Actually, yeah, we definitely have more strength than Nakajima at this point. Nakajima's strength stat is getting pretty close to max 2, if I recall. Only a few more levels away. Those of you who watched my SMT1 playthrough may remember from that one that the maximum for your stats in that game, as is common actually for a lot of SMT games, was 40. That is not the case in Kyuuyaku Megami Tensei 1, at least. I'm not actually sure about 2 off the top of my head, because I have very little experience with that game. But at least in 1, your maximum for stats is 35, which is a kind of weird number. I mean, 40 is a weird number, but like 35 is odd. I feel, but I'm sure there's some weird mathematical reasoning for why they decided to go with that number, I guess. I don't know. Maybe someone in the comments knows, but also here's this weird scorpion thing. But yeah, you may be thinking like, oh, if you only have to get your stats to 35, surely you max out your stats earlier in this game. And while I technically think that is true, also keep in mind that in other SMT games you have equipment that tends to often augment your stats, so I think it technically kind of evens out. Like, if you remember towards the end of SMT1, if you watched that playthrough, like, we had a bunch of armor and shit that was, like, raising our vitality and our agility and our strength and all sorts of fun stuff that we just simply do not have in this game. As far as I know, unless it's, like, a hidden stat that I just, can't see, all of your equipment in this game, like, it literally is only just for raising your attack damage or for, raising your defense, depending on if it's a weapon or if it's armor type of equipment. Though I guess technically also too, you gotta keep in mind that some weapons, do different amounts of hits than others. Anywhere ranging from 1 to like 7, which is ridiculous. That scorpion enemy from before is just reminding me that I'm very thankful that I've never lived in an area in my life where, you had to deal with scorpions and stuff. Because that just doesn't sound like fun, or like any weird area like that with a bunch of weird, creepy, crawly, poisonous things. Like, I know people, like, that live in those areas, like, you gotta check your shoes and shit in the summer, make sure nothing's like hiding in there, and yeah, I couldn't deal with that. Doesn't sound fun. Here's a map of the place. So this 8th floor is actually a if you want to think of the Mazurka Corridor as like just in terms of what it looks like dungeon-wise, it's technically like 2 towers that are connected at the top by like a long bridge section, and that's what the 8th floor is, where we're at here. So this 8th floor is easily, just in terms of like actual space, the most complex of any of the Mazurka Corridor floors. And also, I guess it is worth noting that the game does distinguish between Mazurka areas by calling the westernmost part of Mazurka that we just went through in the last episode Mazurka 1, and then we are currently transitioning on over to Mazurka 2. That's what they call it in terms of like your save slots when you save in one area or the other. It'll differentiate, which I find interesting. But I mean, it makes sense. This area is long enough that splitting it up into 2 distinct sections, I feel, definitely makes sense, so. Please look at this very interesting blank map. Not sure why I was, I was probably just internalizing the map for this floor and forgot to shorten that little, that little bit out there. That's no good. So yeah, if you haven't caught the memo from the bajillion NPCs that are stuck in this dungeon, yeah, we basically need to take one of the heavy items from Raig's shop, in our case the Ares necklace, and replace it with the Latosis statue. I believe that of the 4 items you can get from Raig's shop, I believe, and I could be wrong about this because I haven't looked this up in a while, I believe that 2 of them can be used to replace Latosis' statue with. The Thunderbolt item just does damage to the party, and I forget what the 4th one does off the top of my head, but it's not super important. Really, honestly, we're not going to be visiting Raig's any other time in this playthrough. After we got the membership card, we're kind of done with that. And as always, Mapara is very useful for this dungeon in particular. Honestly, you just want to get into the habit of having Mapara up at all times, even if you are, like me, using like printed out maps or whatever. Just because it's a very quick and easy way for you to reference like your immediate surroundings and be like, okay, so like I am in this part of the dungeon, and like, just kind of cross-referencing with your larger maps if you are using them. Though also, if I'm being honest, and I mean, this is what I did for my first playthrough, I do encourage you to, try not to, if like you think you would enjoy it, I encourage you to not play with maps your first time around and kind of actually do the whole thing where you explore and map things out manually using the in-game tools. And then maybe if you get lost, resort to a guide or whatever, But I think it's more fun than people give it credit for, and I think a lot of people just write it off before actually trying it for themselves, and that's a shame. But I definitely like the mapping and getting lost and exploring parts of these games. And as you can see, we're in another fog section here, which you're definitely going to want Mapara for this part, so you can get into this very specific room. Honestly, no, I'm looking for Latosis' statue, but, I'll take the relief, too. So, yes, you have to agree to this. And yes, you do lose all of your Maka, which, hands down, is the big part of this game that makes me just ask why. Why would you do this? Who thought this was a good idea, Atlas? Or I guess Opera House. Well, actually, no, technically Atlas, because this was in the original version of the game, too. Opera House just kept it faithful for the remake. Yeah, I hate this. Like, you actually absolutely do have to lose all of your money to get that relief. And now we're just broke, and now we have to get all of that money back after we've gone halfway through this RPG, and we expect to at least have a little bit of money to get by for healing and summoning demons, because keep in mind, when you summon demons, that costs Maka, and then your Magnetite is what you use to keep paying them when you walk every tile. But to summon them in the first place, you need that Maka. So what I would recommend is not dying to a giant horde of Abawaku. We have really just hit the gutter fast in this Let's Play, huh? This is a bad time. But yeah, also too, I wanted to show off that there is a little hole in the floor that you could fall through into it, like there's one tile of fog that's on the 7th floor for some reason. But yeah, you can honestly just teleport right on out of here. I wanted to revive Nakajima before we left, though. Oh yeah, we can't even negotiate with this demon either, because at this point in the game they want like over 1,000 Maka, and if you don't have the money to pay up, there's no demon recruiting for you. So what I recommend before you talk to Gaia is, one, I make sure you summon as many demons as you can, or at least have a couple out like I do. 2, spend all of your money on consumable items, which I probably should have done, but I forgot to. You don't really need to, but I mean, you might as well. You're gonna lose it anyways. It doesn't hurt. It's probably the most optimal way to get through this part, is to spend all of your money beforehand anyways. 3, I had a third thing and then I forgot the third thing. But yeah, basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take things slow. We're going to try to not die, because reviving your party members costs a lot of money in this game. The more powerful the party member, the more it costs to revive them, unfortunately. If push comes to shove, you can always move back to the Valhalla Corridor or even the Sky City of Bien if you want to really take things slow and start to build up your finances again. There's this weird little gremlin NPC, man. But yeah, once we reach the 6th floor here, we have thankfully reached the 2nd town, which is good stuff. So we're gonna save up here real quick. One thing to note, kind of a 1-2 punch here. So after we've lost all of our money from speaking with Gaia, we've now reached the 2nd town, which, I mean, sure, it's a nice resting place, but this is the first town in the game that is not free of random encounters. So you are not safe walking between the different vendors and healers and stuff here. And of course, we don't have enough money to, fully heal, which is a pain. And we're almost out of money, and as you're about to see, we don't really have... Oh, well, there we go. We do have Recarm, though, which is nice. So we were able to revive Lagoon, but we're not going to be able to summon any more demons because we just don't have enough Maka. So we're going to spend some time grinding here, and I don't know. Maybe it is a kind of a nice thing that there are random encounters in the town, because that means that you can grind right out in front of the healer and the save point. But at the same time, it would be really nice if after you lost all of your money, you could, like, stop by a town and it'd just be nice and chill, and you'd be able to rest up. No, Kyuuyaku Megami Tensei ain't gonna give you that that benefit of the doubt. You're gonna you're gonna suffer. So yeah, we're just gonna do our best, and you are going to level up a lot here, probably, because you're gonna want to build up your money back again before you dive back into the rest of the dungeon. Definitely. And then, of course, because we lost all of our money, we're not going to have enough cash for going through to all these shops and buying all of the new cool gear that is available for Nakajima and Yumiko, which is another pain. So yeah, basically there's just a point in this game where it's like, hey, we're gonna give you the longest dungeon in the game, and then we're gonna have like a very annoying gimmick where you lose all your money, and then by extension, we're just gonna make you basically have to stop all forward momentum in your playthrough so that you grind a little bit and get back to where you were, which is then as a result going to make you overpowered, and then kind of screw with the balancing for the rest of this dungeon and make it probably less interesting to go through than if we just didn't make you grind. Yeah, it's weird. It's a very baffling early RPG design decision. And I guess, you know, people are probably going to come at me in the comments and be like, well, technically you don't have to grind for getting all your money and stuff back. And I mean, I guess you don't, but also, like, by this point in the game, you're going to want to have a full party of demons out, or at least, you know, quite a few of them. And that is directly reliant on you having the Maka to be able to do so. But enough of that. We ran into a new enemy type here. There's a vampire. This is a very interesting design for a vampire. It reminds me of the things from Ghosts and Goblins, or the thing from Demon's Crest. Forgetting the name for those things right now. It's an Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I forget its name. But yeah, there's a lot of grinding there that I cut out. I did decide to go down to the lower floor, which I don't know if I'm going to show off the map here. Oh, I guess I decided not to. Oh, no, okay. That wasn't when I decided to go down to the lower floor. I was just exploring and I ran to that NPC. What I decided to do before going down to the lower floor is actually check out the Cathedral of Shadows. Now that we've gained a few levels with Nakajima, that means that our options have increased in terms of what we can fuse, which is always a good thing. So we're just going to explore our options here and see what we can conjure up. That's not very good. Now that's what I call a demon there. We got the Bufurama, we got the Meidiyama, we got 30 Vitality. God damn, that is some good stuff. Let's go ahead and fuse this pupper. There we go. We got our first avatar. Now, I feel like we've probably had an avatar demon so far this playthrough. I'd be kind of surprised if we didn't. Not a demon type you really run into out in the wild in this game. I think you can only get avatar enemies from fusing them, even. I could be wrong about that. And here's what the map looks like for this area so far. This 6th floor, as you can tell, is gonna be kind of your new little home base for a little bit here for this part of the game, because it's just way too long to go all the way back to the Sky City of Bien. Well, actually, that's not true. There is one room that has a goddess statue that you can use to teleport back. But it's a one-way trip, and you'll have to walk all the way back if you want to get back down here. So only really use it if you feel like there's an emergency or you really have to. And keep in mind that NPCs hint about Izanami's robes that'll be very important for the next area of the game. Which is also very annoying, to be honest with you, but oh well. So yeah, we're making it down to the 5th floor here. Still don't have a lot of money, as you can tell, but we grinded enough to get a full party back up and have everyone be basically fully healed, though you can see that already some of them are running low on HP. I should probably have healed up here, but I was getting cocky, probably. Haven't lost any of them yet, though, so that's good. Oh, there we go. Lost one of them in the fight with those Nasu. Ooh, and Yumiko turned to stone. That's not good either. But luckily, that's what we have items for. Honestly, yeah, looking at just the amount of consumables I have, I really should have gone back through and probably bought like more stuff for curing stone and paralysis, especially. Here's another vampire. Like the Loa, these things are weak to light-based spells, so that is something to keep in mind. And it happened very fast because that's just how the combat speed is, but Yumiko lost a level. It had to happen eventually. So yeah, actually, that is one thing worth noting. The vampire enemies are actually more prone to using the level down spell than the Loas are, and that's a problem because they actually come in larger groups as well, which sucks. And here we go, we finally found the Latosis statue. Gonna swap it out here with the necklace. And we did it. Now I say we get the fuck out of here. So we're gonna we're gonna teleport all the way back to the 6th floor, and we're gonna try to heal up best we can here. And we actually had enough Maka for that. Yeah, there we go. We're starting to get all of our funds back up, though. After we summon our fallen demon, we're gonna run out again. So that's unfortunate. But oh well. I will see you next time for another exciting episode of Let's Play Kyuuyaku Megami Tensei.